If you had a lovely weekend out and about in the city, you are not alone. Just a great, great weekend. I know I managed to sneak away, like so many of us, into the great outdoors and, had a couple encounters with wildlife. I saw a tortoise. I was mountain biking and an angry grouse charged me a couple of times. That was fun. I caught a couple of rock bass. All of my encounters with the great wildlife were fun and educational and respectful. But that's because I was in the nature. I was in their territory. It's somewhat different when we talk about Toronto's mascot, the raccoon. My engagement with raccoons is somewhat different than other wildlife because they're not really wildlife. They're sort of part of the urban milieu. We are, as you know, the raccoon capital of the world, and we seem to have some real difficulties in this city and in this province talking about how it is that we actually deal with it. And you know what I blame for all of this? It really comes back to one thing. I blame the CBC.
Life would be simple in the forest except for Cyril Sneer. And his life would be simple except for the raccoons.
That is the introduction from the Nelvana cartoon series, The Raccoons. The Raccoons, lovable cartoons. Always the hero. Always getting out of jams. Wait a second. Raccoons aren't heroes? Have you seen what they can do to your roof? Have you seen what they'll do to your attic? Let's have some real plain talk about raccoons. And I want to open up the phone lines for that. In our next segment, we're going to take some of your calls about your experiences with having to deal and pay for the aftermath of the giant raccoon population that we have in this city. But before we get to your calls, I want to talk to Bill Dowd. He's the founder, president, and CEO of Skedaddle Humane Wildlife Control. And Bill, when you get a call from somebody that says, I got a family taking up residence here, you're going to go in and you're going to move them somewhere else. Isn't that the way things work?
Well, thanks for having me on the show, Alan. We're going to get the animals out of people's homes in a humane manner, keep babies reunited with their mother, and we're going to animal-proof people's homes because there's just so many raccoons in all cities, not only Toronto, but every city across North America. In fact, we like to think that the raccoon capital is every city in Canada, since we're busy in 3 different provinces that we service. So it's a never-ending battle with homeowners to animal-proof their property.
Are raccoons vermin?
Well, they are a mammal. So in terms of the insurance, and sometimes insurance companies do cover the removal or at least the cleanup of their feces and their urine and contaminated insulation. So sometimes that is covered, and sometimes they fall into that vermin category. But that's more of a insurance term that is used out there.
But I guess what I'm getting at is that we treat rats and other types of infesting animals and disturbing animals, we treat them one way. And with raccoons, we treat them somewhat completely different. What's your feeling about population control?
Well, I think the main secret for population control is for homeowners to take a look around their home, put screens on their chimneys, screens on their roof vents, proper maintenance or proper placement of their garbage bins, putting garbage out first thing in the morning for pickup. You go across any city in North America or Canada, and garbage most often is put out at night, and that's when these raccoons and skunks and opossums are out foraging for food.
But I hear this, and I hear this from city officials, and I wonder. I mean, we've got like 100 to 200,000 of these things in the city already. It's hardly like we're just going to starve them into submission.
No, but if we reduce the populations by maintaining our properties, this is going to allow...
How many generations of raccoons do you think it's going to take of us just, all of us putting our green bin together better before we actually see any difference?
It's more so homeowners to put screens on their chimneys and screens on their vents. I could walk down any city any street in any city, and 99% of the people are not going to have screens over their roof fence, which is one of the most common entry points for raccoons. So as long as every single home has these vents, which are potential entry area, raccoons are going to continue to expand in numbers and continue to be problems for homeowners, not only in Toronto, but in Montreal, Niagara, you name it, anywhere in Canada.
Well, I'm a guy that's all about value, so do I just go to the Home Depot this weekend, grab myself some chicken wire, climb up on the roof, and just hammer that into place?
Well, I wish it was that easy. First off, chicken wire isn't going to be strong enough. You need a wire that's about the thickness of a coat hanger wire. And then you need to secure that around the vent. And unfortunately, in southern Ontario, any new home that is being constructed, any home that is out there, there's not a manufacturer that makes these roof vents animal-proof. Now, that's different in areas where there's a high snow load. So our franchisees in Ottawa and Montreal and Sudbury, they tend to have a stronger roof vent that sits 2 feet off the roof because of the snow loads, so it allows it to vent properly. Now, those are animal-proof. But unfortunately, anything that construction or home builders here in Ontario don't make these vents animal-proof.
How do you feel about something more serious in terms of population control? I mean, obviously it would take away your business, but I mean, do we have to have that discussion at some point?
I don't think it's a issue with population control in terms of eradicating or culling raccoons. Also, there's studies out there when you start to cull, it actually causes the increase in population. It really, and I know I keep coming back to this, it's for homeowners to take responsibility of their home and to animal-proof their structure. Whether it be for raccoons or squirrels or mice, there's methods to make your home animal-proof, so you don't have to worry if you see one raccoon in your backyard or 10 in your backyard. They're not going to be able to get into your property.
And then once they're not getting in, they can go back to just being cute cartoon animals. All right, Bill Dowd is the founder and president and CEO of Skedaddle Humane.